I want to touch on Black Panther, but I still got to talk about Captain Marvel. You guys lost. Like I don't think they realize that you lost. You lost. Right? You lost, right? Captain Marvel is bigger than ever now. You lost. They chirped all, they talked all this stuff about Brie Larson can't do this. Brie Larson can't do it. We hate Captain Marvel, right? The character of Captain Marvel seems to not be popular. Now, I didn't know this because most of my friends who are in the comic book stuff, and I don't read the stuff, but the people I get like information on comic books from, they are all big Captain Marvel fans, right? And it is what it is. If you want to call, you know, if you want to call my friend Cameron, oh, well, he must be soft, he must be a beta. This dude was in the Navy and in the Army. He was in the Army's Taekwondo team, right? He did stuff with Special Forces guys in South Korea. You know, did stuff with the South Korean Army's Taekwondo team, right? Like, you know, what have you done? You know, if you're going to call him some kind of beta or whatever, he must be a pussy, right? Okay, sure, you know, sure. And your greatest accomplishment was you fapped off to watching a bunch of LARPers storm the Capitol. Get out of here with that mess, right? You ain't about it. Right? I spent more time in the shitter on my ship off the coast of Iraq than you have. The closest thing you did was watch G.I. Joe. Get the fuck out of here, man. All right, but anyway, so that's who I get a lot of my Marvel, what's going on in Marvel information from, was my bro, who's a fellow vet, fellow martial artist, and he's got a girlfriend here in Thailand, so he might be joining me over here soon when the world manages to unscrew itself and get this COVID stuff out of here, right? So you guys lost. Captain Marvel, she's moved to the mentor, right? She had her hero's journey, which I talked about in my Captain Marvel review. If you didn't know I reviewed it, go check it out. You know, and I talked about the idea of sisterhood in that movie. Sisterhood is a strong bond in female role models, right? She, you know, you look at, what was it, the Great Intelligence or whatever the leader of the Kree was, that AI, and the AI is Marvel, who is now a woman, and in this version of the story, Marvel, they didn't just gender bend Marvel from the comics, where he was, you know, had Captain Marvel powers. Marvel is a scientist, and she's trying to help the Kree, and she's, you know, was she trying to experiment on the Tesseract and make this engine that could help transport, you know, the good Kree, you know, the victims of this, not the Kree, the Skrulls, the victims from the Kree Skrull War. They're the good ones, right? They're not the ones that we should be trying to worry about and wipe out. They're not all bad, right? We can't commit genocide against a whole species. It's wrong, right? She's a different kind of mentor, right? She gives Carol her sense of compassion, right? But this other greater intelligence and I don't know, what's his name, Yanrog or whatever, you're a weapon, right? You're a weapon. You're here, and it's like she's a weapon, but even then they want to keep the shackles on her. They want to keep her under control. And so it's tapping into her femininity. It's funny, like Professor Geek he's supposed to be some kind of college professor. These Fandominus channels. He did a video before the movie was even out comparing Alita Battle Angel to Captain Marvel. This is why this guy I don't, this is the, and I challenged him. I called him out on it on Twitter. He blocked me, and I'm like, bro, you would hate to have me in your classroom, right? Because no teacher, I had a teacher, AJ Levine at Vanderbilt. I dropped out of school and ended up getting an F in her class because I dropped out. I wasn't going to get an F if I hadn't dropped out, right? Right. They called me in to take the exam. I was like, I'm in the middle of New Mexico, right? I'm not coming back anytime soon. So I was like, I'm not coming back to school. I'm trying to do this YouTube thing. So thanks. Thanks, but I'm done. I don't want to take out any more student loans, when I'm making money making YouTube videos. But AJ Levine, you guys might not know this name, but this lady, she knows her stuff, right? Her CV was like 30 pages long of like all her academic accomplishments, articles she's written, books she's written, places where she's been invited to speak, and just everything. She's a heavy hitter in terms of like New Testament scholarship. But AJ said, you can challenge me, but if you challenge me, you need to know what you're talking about, right? And so I just Professor Geek guy, if I were a student in his classroom and I challenged him, I'd probably shut him the F up, right? And I would, right? Because he made this video and he's talking about the hero's journey and how Captain Marvel's not going to follow the hero's journey. And I'm like, well, there's a story called The Heroine's Journey. I know it's a feminist book, right? The noted Star Wars feminist Trisha Barr recommended it. She's like, if you really want to understand Rey's character, you need to read this. I'm gonna make a confession to you guys. I haven't finished the book. I started reading it, but when you're a graduate student, a lot of times they give you a lot of reading, and they don't expect you to actually do it. It's like, we want you to look at this and kind of get the general idea, the big picture, so you can come to class and participate in the discussion. And you got to be smart enough not to know when to start. Okay, I'm getting in over my head now. I might want to shut the F up, right? I contributed enough, and if I've got to write a paper, okay, now I actually need to sit down and spend some time reading the book, so I don't just pull some stuff out of my backside in the essay or the paper or the reflection piece, whatever, term paper. But the heroine's journey, what I had read was the heroine's journey starts out, and usually for a woman, because Joseph Campbell was like, oh, women don't go on a hero's journey, they're already there. And it was like, no, they're not. They're not there. That's the premise of that's what the premise that the lady, I think her name, I don't remember her name. I'm not even gonna say what I think. I started to say Maureen something, but I don't think it's a Maureen. I don't remember. You Google it, look it up on Amazon, The Heroine's Journey, if you're really interested. But what she starts out, she says, well, Joe was kind of right, because when a woman starts out on the hero's journey, she has to become like a man, right? And that's what Carol is, like a man, right? She's not in touch with herself. And so as she gets more in touch with her feminine side, that's when she she has her awakening experience and this call to adventure. And it's like, Nick, what's the dude over S.H.I.E.L.D.? I just forgot his name. Nick, I keep wanting to say Nick Cage, and I'm like, it's not Nick Fury, right? She meets Fury, and he's kind of the wise person on the side of the road, right? The wise person who kind of the wise old mentor, right? Who kind of facilitates her awakening through their exchange. She gets more in touch with her human side, and there's like, well, she's too stiff. She shows no emotion. She's a horrible actor. And it's like, well, if you understood storytelling and you paid attention to the story instead of you're just saying this stuff because you don't like Brie Larson, you're trying to find a fault in her. It's like, well, she's not herself. She's trying to be like a man. She's trying to be like a weapon. She's trying to be these things that the Kree told her she is, but she's not even a Kree. She's like, oh, I'm a pink skinned Kree or whatever. No, you're not. You're not even Kree. You know, like you had this blood transfusion and this Yanra guy is like, oh, you owe everything you are to me and you should be grateful to me. And I'm your mentor and I'm going to tell you who you are. And then the great, what is that thing called? The great intelligence, whatever it is. You know, it's like reinforcing. It's like we're reinforcing the construct that we built for you. But and we're reinforcing the shackles. But Carol, that's not who you are. You're Carol Danvers. You're this girl who fails over and over again, but you get back up again, right? And you have to get back in touch with that person. You have to remember who your sister is, right? Who helped you through this, Maria Rambo. And you're this hero to Maria's daughter, Monica Rambo, right? And you have this mentor who inspired you and Maria to keep pushing, even though it felt like, you know, the Air Force was holding you back. You have this greater mission. You're part of something bigger. You're actually heroes, right? You just don't know it, right? And you got to get it back in touch. You got to find out who Mar-Vell is. This is why you keep seeing the, I don't remember what the hell it is, the greater intelligence, whatever. This is why you keep seeing this AI as Mar-Vell. You've just forgotten. It's all suppressed, right? And it's part of the shackles that are holding you down. You got to stop trying to be like a man. Stop trying to be this perfect Kree soldier, a weapon, a tool. You've got to step into who you really are, right? And that's what the hero's journey is. It's discovering who you really are, right? So this Professor Geek guy is like, oh, well, Alita Battle Angel goes on the hero's journey, but Captain Marvel is just feminist propaganda and she's demonic and this. And I'm like, bro, are you first off, the movie wasn't even out yet, so how do you know? And then after I saw it, I was like, amazing. Everything you just said was wrong. I'm like, Alita Battle Angel, I enjoyed the movie too. You know, I got some fandom menace dork who's all, anytime I say something about Captain Marvel, he's like, you should watch Alita Battle Angel. It's like, bro, I saw it in the movie. I just didn't have anything to say about it. But you think I'm gonna make a video about every movie I see? No. I saw the awful Paul movie. I fell asleep watching it. I didn't make a video about that. I saw the new Samson and Delilah movie. I fell asleep watching it. I didn't make a video about that. I don't make videos about everything I see, right? Watched a whole lot of Thai movies. We'll make videos about that, right? But Alita is like, oh, I'm going to give you my heart. And I'm like, your heart is what makes you special. It's what powers that battle suit. It's what makes you a battle angel. You're going to give it to this guy who like sold everyone out, right? This guy who, you know, he's not as great as you think he is, right? And I mean, he comes real, but he comes true in the end. But what did it cost him after he lost his body, right? And he's a cyborg made from jacked up parts, right? After he sold everyone out, and it's like he's not as great as you thought he was, right? He's not your Prince Charming. It was that loss, right? She's lost everything, and now she steps into who she needs to be, right? But it was like, I don't know if that's really an inspirational character up to that point. What message does that send out to girls who watch the movie, right? Why do these guys think that this, you know, from this certain group, think that this is the end all be all? And I'm not saying it was a bad movie. I enjoyed it, but I'm just looking like, man, this girl is really naive, right? She wants to belong to something, and she doesn't even see that it's her that's special, right? She's looking everywhere else. It's kind of like Rey, right? It's very much like Rey in Star Wars, right? Rey is looking for a family and looking for everybody else, and oh, I'm not the one, I'm not the great hero. And Luke is kind of like, you kind of are. You don't really need me. You got it all. You know what to do. You just won't do it, right? It's really what he's telling Rey in The Last Jedi. And then, you know, but he doesn't want to help when she actually does need help, and that's when Yoda has to step in, like, yo, man, like, Luke, you need to get off your. You need to get over what happened with Ben, man. Like, you mess up, okay? You messed up, but it's not really on you. That was his choice, right? okay, you made some mistakes, but it takes two to tango. But this time, this girl's reaching out. She really wants your help, and you know, you need to give it to her, right? If she fails, then that's the big failure. You know, your time is up, but you know, you need to point her in the right direction, man. Like, you know, that's essentially, people had issues with that because they don't want to see the bigger picture. And here, you know, people want to see what they want to see, but I'm telling you guys, she won. Captain Marvel, she's the mentor, right? Marvel inspired her. Now she's got her own little Marvels, right? And they're those little girl power family. And apparently Miss Marvel is going to have new powers besides just the power she has in the comic books, which I'm biggin', right? Is, you know, because in the comics it's like, well, what makes her different from Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, right? She stretches, so does he. You know, I guess she can morph and, you know, shape shift and other stuff because of her abilities. But I think they're going to give her like photon blasts or something. I don't know. She's going to have like additional powers, which I think might be, I don't know. I don't know. That's why I was kind of saying, I wonder if Eternals kind of introduces the Inhuman gene, because it's like, well, Miss Marvel is an Inhuman, but they haven't done Inhumans in the MCU. They had the show and they dealt with it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that was like Marvel's TV studio, Marvel TV or whatever, which was separate from the MCU. Even though they tried to cross it over with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. the first two seasons, it's not canon, right? Not the MCU canon, Earth 616 canon. So I'm interested to see how they introduce Miss Marvel, and if they do go the Inhumans route, or, you know, I think the Eternals might introduce the Inhuman gene and the X gene, so they're responsible for mutants and Inhuman. I don't know. And it really doesn't matter what the comic books do, because it's the MCU, so they're kind of doing their own thing.